BlogTalk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. This is Chrism, and I would like to welcome you, but I'd also like to welcome Her Holiness, Amelia Centaura. Yes, I left off her moniker, but it's only because I didn't want her to get paranoid about having that moniker so much. So I'm backing off of it, Centaura. What do you think of that?
Okay. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to be here as always on a Wednesday. Just to let everybody know in the chat room that once more I do not have a visual on any of you there. Again, I was just telling Chrism I have a stack of 3.
We have one person in the chat room, and I just want to give MJ Anderson the one person in the chat room award. Nicely done. Goes.
Hi, MJ.
Now we have nobody.
Oh, that's a bit unusual. Although people sometimes come on a few minutes later, I think they wait for some of the announcements to be done.
I feel so lonely here. Nobody's good.
Oh, where's my violin? I have it here somewhere.
Well, your announcements.
Okay, I shall. I'll begin, as always, with the announcement about donations. People ask me where they can write or where they can send a donation to, and there are a few ways that a donation can be given. The easiest and most simple way to do this is to go to the website www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com and go to the donate button, and there the instructions are very easy. To do this, you need a card or you need PayPal, but it is the simplest and most efficient way of sending a donation. But there are other ways that this can be done. And if Ascension Kundalini Blogspot does not suit you, then please feel free to write, and I can let you know of other ways. It can be done through the bank, or there's Western Union and different methods that I can talk to you about. Write to me to what's my address again? KundaliniMatters@gmail.com, and I can let you know other ways of making a donation. But again, I'll give you that website. It's www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. And as we always say, I make these announcements, but there is absolutely no pressure on anybody or no expectation for people to send a donation. However, because this is the way that Chrism is able to pay his bills, and it is also the way that the program that he gives here and in the many other places that he gives his teachings and support to people who are going through a Kundalini awakening experience, donations are essential really for this work to continue, as our teacher does need to eat and pay bills and such, just like all the rest of us. So if you are in a position to send a donation, then please, it would be gratefully received with much love. And I'll give it to you again. It's the www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. And if you want any other information, do contact me by email. That's it, Chris. I'm looking forward to the show, as always. And I do have a few questions whenever you're ready for those.
Oh, well, let's start out with a question. My gosh.
Oh, said she frantically going to I didn't expect you to say it so quickly. 1 second. Okay. So the first question is, can you say something about sun gazing? Is this a good idea as part of a meditation practice or not?
I mean, I have to say no. It's not anything that I would recommend for anybody to do. But it's not because of the of the medical reasons for not exposing your eyes to the sunlight. It isn't a way to activate the Kundalini either. Like a lot of people make that assumptive jump to think that sun gazing, the sun's fire in your eyes is going to translate to a Kundalini awakening. Now, if the Kundalini itself within the person wants to use that as a trigger point, fine, and that will be done. But unless it's the Kundalini doing, it's typically not a way that will awaken the Kundalini. The other thing is, there are certain times of the day when people are sun gazing, typically dawn and dusk. It's not high noon. Okay, and because I feel there's a real risk of blindness or of other medical challenges that can come to a person because they don't know, say, a correct protocol of sun gazing. They just say, "Oh, sure, I can gaze at the sun. Sure, my mom always told me not to, but okay, what the heck? I'll gaze at the sun." Because there's a potential risk for complicated issues with the eye, I'm going to suggest that people do not sun gaze. From the aspect of pranic feeding, and within the supervising of people who have a tried and true paper trail behind them of success with sun gazing, well then, okay, fine. But without that qualification, I'm not going to suggest it at all. You don't need it to awaken the Kundalini. You don't need to sun gaze. Sun gazing just has this really romantic feel. God, I gazed at the sun, and now I am one with the sun, having so much fun.
Rhyme time. Okay, Chrism, thank you. So, thank you. I was going to say if somebody is pulled to do that, would dawn and dusk be the time, but I hear you saying don't. Really, am I?
Well, yeah, I don't recommend it, and you don't require it for Kundalini. Now, however, if your Kundalini is pulling you to sun gaze, then only sun gaze at dusk and at dawn, just as the sun is coming up over the horizon, the new horizon, or the day is done horizon. Do your sun gazing then.
Okay. And that's just reminding me of another question that I hadn't written down, but somebody was speaking about seeing black spots. And what does that mean? Is that are the black spots prana?
Well, what they really are is they're little particles of mud that is splashed up on your glasses.
Well, that could be true. But let's say one is not wearing glasses then.
Yeah. Black dots or floating dots with like a dark center to them. And sometimes you'll see them doubled up with light and dark center to them. Those are just different forms of, say, negative-based spiritual consciousness. You always want to understand that you're swimming in a sea of positivity and negativity going on at the same time. And so, don't be surprised when you see particles of extreme, beautiful, brilliant light floating on by, and particles of deep, deep darkness with a black center floating by too. I mean, you have to have the two to unite the flow. So you will be surrounded by copious levels of energetic consciousness that have representation within negativity, such as a lights out, dark time scenario. Try not to associate that with evil, though. Darkness does not need to equate to evil at all. Mm-hmm. And coldness does not need to equate to a ghost either. I mean, these are all, chosen interpretations that have been passed down. Okay. Dark and night are very, very, very beautiful times. Very energizing times. very important times for us to honor, not repudiate, not to resist. You know, we resist the night quite a bit in our society. You know, we have these lights that stay on all night long. Never any darkness. Just light all the time.
Yeah.
Most of the biology on this world depends on darkness and lightness. Diurnal. Okay? You know, and it's important for us to recognize that. It's important for us to turn off the damn light and be immersed in the darkness of your bedroom or the darkness of your tent or your hut or your cave, or in my case, 63 Ford F-100 pickup.
Yes. Actually, it's so true about what you're saying about lights. I haven't, you know, I feel very drawn to go out into the darkness, but thinking about what you're saying there, you're so right. We just make it light all the time, don't we? Wow.
We do. We manufacture light, you know, the fluorescent and whatnot, and then you look at it as advertising. Like you go to Las Vegas or Los Angeles or New York or any of the big cities, even there in Ireland, I've seen advertisements lit up at night.
Mhm. Even here.
Most of them put out by one company. What do you think that company is?
Does it start with G?
Yeah. Starts with a G.
Well, let's ask listeners to write in, and there will be a prize for that. No, I'm joking.
Yes. Guinness. You see plenty of Guinness signs in Ireland.
You do.
The national drink, I think.
It is indeed our national drink, apparently. Although whiskey is, a close second. But anyway, let's change the subject. Okay.
I think I answered the question as best.
Yes, thank you, Chrism. Yes, thank you very much. There's always a lot of talk and conversation as well happening on the groups about chakras, and chakras on their own and chakras in relation to Kundalini. And so there's a lot of information. But there was another question this week, and it was, how could we know which of our chakras is the strongest? And is it the seventh chakra? And how will we know how to use the seventh chakra? And what will happen when it's about to happen? This kind of thing. So there was a focus on the seventh. So could you answer that?
Sure.
It wasn't exact. Yeah.
So no. The seventh chakra is not your strongest chakra typically, and you can know what your strongest chakra is by your behavior patterns. How you behave is an indication of what chakra you're behaving from, so to speak, because we use our chakras as behavioral platforms of expression into our environment, into our social environment and our biological environment. So, with that being said, that will determine what chakra is being used or what mixture of chakras are being used. You can actually, if you can see emanations, energetic emanations from a chakra, you can kind of follow a person going through an emotional thought stream. That's not, entities do it all the time. They follow your emotional thought stream and then they try to match it. The question is, and we're also moving into the seventh chakra. Oh, how will I know? I mean, come on, how do you know you're in an earthquake as you're having it?
Yeah.
How do you know you're standing on the rim of a volcano as it's going off, as it's happening? How do you know that? I mean, when the seventh chakra activates, it's a totally life-changing event. Totally life-changing. Priorities are changed. focuses are changed. Everything is changed. And if you're not changed, then you didn't have one. You didn't have that seventh chakra awakening. Changes everybody. And what happens on the way up to that spinal sweep? Well, a lot of Kundalini phenomena happens. A lot of phenomena that you can't explain, that is paranormal, telekinesis, different forms of psychic phenomena, some of which I probably shouldn't go into because I'm kind of getting an idea that someone in the audience may use that inappropriately, so we won't go into that too much. Certain levels of a technology of convincing can be experienced. And certainly, of course, the levels of self-deification, becoming Jesus, becoming Mary, becoming Buddha, becoming Allah, becoming, some enlightened being sent here to help the masses. Okay, in a Christian context, a Jesus complex can be given, or a deity complex can be given. And I'm not sure you can really call that a complex if a person is really having the Kundalini and the hand of God is voicing through that person. Well, then hello, and how are you? Mm-hmm. So sometimes it pays to pay attention. As far as the phenomena go, look at the many different levels of phenomena that occur in a Kundalini awakening, and pretty much you can figure out which ones are pre and after the spinal sweep. Spinal sweeps generally lend for the energy to rise from the base to the top of the head. So people can often feel a general upswelling of energy, a general direction of moving up, and possibly down as well, down the back, up the front. Everybody's got a unique equation, though, so you don't want to go into it with the expectation that, mine's going to be just like yours, but with a different paint job, because more than the paint job will be different. More than the paint job will be different, and so you want to understand that as well. So you'll have just a lot of Kundalini phenomena on the way up to the spinal sweep. During the spinal sweep, you'll have a massive amount of phenomena. And then as you're coming off of the spinal sweep, some weeks or months or years later, you kind of begin to process what an experience of becoming divine human being is like, what the experience of merging with divinity, merging with God, merging with that. What has that done to this person, and what is this person's new role in life, if not drastically different from the original role? What is the new paradigm for this individual because of that merging? What information do they have to give? What healings do they have to give? What love, bliss, or the opposites of that, hatred and hurt. What is the message that they have been given to give through their contact and merging with the divine? Something else to look at. Go ahead, Amelia.
Thank you, Chrism. Okay, so can Kundalini be activated by another person, someone else who is awakened? The reason I ask is because this is when my experience started, after meeting this person and having a profound connection with them.
This is a G-rated show now. Let's just keep that in mind.
Well,
I don't think we don't need to explore that further. I don't think, it's like.
Well then, let me. Can Kundalini be activated by another person?
Yes, absolutely, and no, absolutely not. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, no, not at all. And then on the other hand, yes, sure, not a problem.
Okay.
the yes sure not a problem part is, if you find yourself in the proximity of a Kundalini awakened person, and you're having sex, or you're sleeping with, or you're married to a person that has just had the awakening or is going through the response right now, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You're sharing body fluids with them. You're sharing, intimately with them. Then yes, indeed, that's passed. What are you doing, Amelia? Are you moving around? Yes.
I did just this moment move after sitting completely still, but now I'm in a position where I can sit still again.
Moving.
I shall not move again, or you can put me in the blue.
Next question, my dear.
Okay.
We've been joined by others.
The next.
Yes, we've been joined by others. Look.
I can't see who's there.
We have Julie, we have Elizabeth, Fashji, we have a guest 1780, guest 1789, guest 1807, MJ Henderson, Madhava Sadhi, and Sigrid is there as well. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, everyone. I can't see you all, but it's good to know you're there. Okay, well then the next question is, I finished my detox cleanse and boy do I feel amazing. But now all I want to eat are beets, mushrooms, onions, carrots, garbanzo beans and cucumbers. Is this odd?
No, that's normal. That person would just want to follow the advice that their intuition is giving them at the moment. You come off of a fast. I assume she's doing a detox fast, so she hasn't been eating. And now she wants to put in clean food. I would suggest, that all of that be organic as well as, homegrown if possible. But yeah, that's normal. That is what should be happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next question, you're going through these really quickly today.
Okay.
Okay. The next question is, Chrism, I have been doing Aum mantra 108 times using my mala. The vibration is going deep into the heart and my voice sounds different as I Aum. How do I get over the fear of this depth and going deeper? Is this going deeper? Thanks.
Yeah,
that's
stop
from
drinking.
Sadhvi. That's from Sadhvi, actually. She's there in the chat room.
Oh, this is from Madhava?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Hi. All right, so, well, if it wasn't her, I would say take out caffeine, take out the stimulants, take out the sugars, take out the hot spices. Take those things out of your diet simply because you don't need any more of an external located sensory input. Okay, you need to really bland up your diet so that you're not being overwhelmed or counterbalanced any other way than going straight in to this equation. The caffeine, the sugars, the stimulants, they can all provide a basis for fear to exist. Okay. Those choices, the person that is making those dietary choices towards, say, caffeine or sugar or, a high fructose corn syrup type of a diet, they're choosing to take in this food. Granted, it may be through ignorance or laziness or both, but they're choosing to. The organic option is fairly common throughout the world now, and so people can get natural food. And so I would strongly, strongly, strongly suggest that the person eats natural food that is organic and pesticide-free and spices and stimulant-free. That being said, okay, so now we come closer into in line with what Madhava Sadhvi might be doing. And basically, don't don't give yourself an opportunity to fear, really. I mean, if you're going to dwell on what it is that you're doing, and you're kind of dwelling on, wow, this is a huge step. This is a big step, and I'm afraid of what might be out there. Just ground yourself in your Kundalini. Let her give you the reasons why she wants you to do this. Don't you try to find a logical stream of intellectual explanation. Not going to happen. You're going to receive certain feelings of why this must be done, and how this must be done, and what the results can be if this is done in a certain way. And you just follow those instructions. Now, as I recall, Mahadeva, you don't have a living flesh teacher. You have a dead flesh teacher, which is Osho. So you might want to peruse some of Osho's sayings and see where your Kundalini Shakti leads you to read from with regards to his teachings. Open yourself to that guidance within you. Let it occur. You don't necessarily have to twist the arm of the soul to want to go into soulful self-exploration, in inner explorations. Give yourself from the heart, and take courage from your heart as well. Even as Amelia finally decides to move, and we all hear it across all the 7 continents of this world. Lift a finger, push a star. Lift an elbow, push some paper into the microphone. It's all the same, folks. It's all the same. Okay. So yeah, with regards to feeling fear or anxiety about going deeper, you don't really have a choice anymore. Mahadeva Sadhvi, you don't really have that choice. The option is always going to be presenting itself to you, so you just have to move through that fear. Talk to Kundalini about that fear. Try to get whatever intuitive information you can about the source of that fear, and then go forward anyway. Wow, you're welcome. What does Mahadeva Sadhvi mean? What am I saying? Like, French fries are really good in India? What is it? Divine French fries are the purity of heaven. I see. Well, that's very nice. Divine purity. I like that. Your Holiness, you're the queen of questionable comforts.
Ha!
Please step forward.
Quietly. Okay. The next question is, if Kundalini, now this isn't well phrased one, if Kundalini is to rise completely, I will no longer live in this land? Question mark. Even if I reach the final union, my family would miss me and they would be sad. And this is because she is saying that in the final stage, her personality would merge with the universe and her family and friends would stay behind. And so so could you say something about that, Chrism? Please. Okay.
Is she making a statement or is she asking a question?
She's asking a question. She's sort of saying, I think she's something fearful. She's expressing some fear about a final union, with Kundalini, and that she would change so much her family and friends would miss her. I'm not sure, if she feels she'd actually miss the earth, leave the earth, or is she talking about a huge change in her personality?
The person that you once were will not be. But you'll remember who you were. You remember your behaviors, embarrassingly. You'll remember all of that. And so you'll remember how to communicate with people. And yes, you may change radically from how the person typically is right now, but that is to be expected. And do not be on this path if you are not willing to accept radical change in yourself. You should stay away from Kundalini. Stay away from Kundalini if you don't want to change, because it's all about change. And most family and friends, they better just change with you, or they'll change without you, or you'll change without them. Kundalini doesn't give you a lot of choices about change. You have to accept it.
Yeah, I suppose most of the change, a lot of the change is for the better anyway. I mean, I know in my case, a lot of the change has been really good for my family.
Yeah.
So that's been a good thing,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to quote something that somebody called Sylvia wrote. She says, "My awakening has been quite a struggle for me. I used to resist it more, but I am trying to allow Kundalini to do what it needs to do. But I'm very inquisitive, and I want to understand everything. I have felt the buzzing of the energy in my higher chakras, but never in my heart until now. And I have felt that ever since I have been meditating on my chakras and had my awakening, I haven't felt very connected to the lower chakras, which has been a sort of an imbalance in my life, because I have not felt grounded. It's like I have only had connection to my higher chakras, but not much from the heart down. I don't know if I'm making any sense, laughing out loud, but for me it is important to feel like I am reconciling with the lower chakras. Do you have thoughts on this?" Unquote.
Well, yeah, within a Kundalini context, you want to have reconciliation with all the chakras. All the chakras need to be working. All the chakras need to be detoxed. All the chakras need to be exercised, and you need to be exercised in how to feel and express through them selectively. So there's a ways for this person to go. The first thing this person wants to do is to detox the chakras in question. Detox the first, second, third chakra. Get in there and start pulling out old programs, old enemies, old people that have hurt you, people that have abandoned you, failed you in some way. Do as much forgiveness work as you can, okay? And then begin to ask the Kundalini first to pull itself into those chakras. You might be surprised because you've got active chakras up top. That means that a syncope can occur and a person can have active as above, so below type of a synchronous movement. So you detox the chakras. So you detox the first. Well, you detox your safety issues, your security issues, your food issues, your survival issues. Then you just to name a few. And to name a few, the next one, you detox your sexual issues, you detox your creative issues, you detox your hardworking issues, you detox your ability to filtrate fluids or filtrate the fluidic thoughts that come to you through society. So you really begin to detox two separate areas along the spine. The first two areas, the red and the orange area along the spine, and just those two areas alone can really carry a lot of weight when it comes to doing the rest of the refinement practices for the Kundalini. You got to remember, the first is where the Kundalini is housed. So you really need to understand that as well. Okay, and there's certain types of chakra breathing that a person can breathe into the chakras. But I find people, when I assign people to do chakra breathing, they do way more than I tell them to do. It's not a more is better omniverse here. That may be good in some situations, but for other situations, more is not better. To a drowning man in a swimming pool, more water is not better. Okay, I don't care if that water is milk. You can still drown in milk. More is not always better. And so if you have a teacher, use the instructions that teacher gives you. Have that level of focus that teacher wants you to have. Have that level of mindfulness that teacher wants you to have. Right, Amelia? Mindfulness? Hello? Oh my God. Once again, BlogTalk has done its thing, I guess.
I was blue, Chrism, as in muted microphone. It takes ages to come back on. Yes, mindfulness and having that level of
you were
mindfulness.
In the loo? What's a loo? What's a loo?
A loo. A loo. A loo is the word for, what do you call it in America?
Allure. The allure of the
You
allure.
have a strange, yes. The closet, is that what you call it?
So anyway, yeah. So mindfulness, really, if you have a teacher, then take advantage of having a teacher, because it's not the easiest thing to get, at least not in an authentic passage.
Having a teacher, makes the Kundalini process more difficult, and at the very same time, it makes it easier.
It does, because a teacher, at least from what I do, it gets very, very focus specific.
Yeah.
And the amount of surrender is tremendous. You have to surrender everything. Not only to the flesh teacher, but to the Kundalini within you as well. So it's like you're trying to please two teachers at the same time. It's just so fortunate that they complement each other easily enough. So, but yeah. And I'm gonna branch out a little bit on this as you begin to partake of teachings, and you find a teacher that you like. Really, really, really give that attention to what that teacher says. Stop being the butterfly. Oh, I like to just bounce around and experience this technique and do that technique and this technique. Some of those techniques, you probably don't want to be doing. I would suggest, for those of you that are really, really, really looking at this from a point of amused seriousness, really begin to give your attention to what your teacher is telling you. Really begin to honor the grace and the level of divine intervention that you represent. You represent divine intervention into the worldly affairs of this planet. You are that divine intervention. Kundalini awakened people are the divine intervention. Okay. So you have to begin to understand your life through that kind of a lens, through a divine lens. And so in that context, I'm going to ask you to honor the Kundalini in you. This is for all of you that I know who are practicing, like Julia, Elizabeth, Fashji, MJ, Madeva, Sigrid, Eileen, Rosemary, Centaur. All of you need to honor that Kundalini within you. And for the women, because you're honoring the sacred femininity within yourself, I want you to carry yourself in a very, very different way. I want you to carry yourself in a confident, beautiful way. Not somebody who's walking down a string of tables in a modeling agency. I don't care about that. I don't care about whether you have matching accessories. I care that you hold yourself high. You hold the truth of who you are. And you hold it out in front of yourself. And you show the world who you are, how you are, what you are, why you are. and you radiate that Kundalini everywhere you are. I want you to honor your looks without dropping into vanity. Honor the looks that you have, that you've been given to have in this life. And if it hasn't stood up to the standards of society, well, it was never supposed to. Doesn't mean it's dishonorable. You go with your looks. You be happy with who you are, how you are, what you are. Especially because Kundalini has come to you. It has come to you. You didn't have to be cute to have it come to you. You just had to be present. So you keep yourself clean, you keep yourself healthy, you keep yourself beautiful, you keep yourself on a devotional path pointed towards your own ascendancy. Honor the divinity within you. Honor that beauteous self that has opened itself within you. Live through those levels of behavior first. Let that be your first choice. Live that divine life. Keep your morals, keep your ethics very high within the society that you live in. And your Kundalini knows what society you're living in. Live high into the moral firmament. Let yourself feel the divinity expressing itself through you as you do this. Once again, without falling into vanity, without falling into any of the God complexes or anything like that, or blowing my own horn, self-aggrandizement, without falling into any of that, give expression to your divine self. If it's expressing through you, so be it. Let that Kriya come. Let that Kriya come. Do not devalue who you are because of societal judgments. You came as a package deal. This person had this amount of karma they needed to burn off. When that occurs, then they have the opportunity to have the divine oneness come into them. What do? How do they welcome this? Do they welcome it at all? Well, those are some of the unknown questions that people are given to work on by themselves. Honor the Shakti, honor the Shiva that's within you, honor the divine expression, the Christ consciousness within you. Call it what you will, but honor that divine voice within you. Put that eye makeup on. Be the beautiful person that your society sees as eye candy. Be that eye candy. I don't care how old you are, I don't care how young you are, I don't care you're fat, you're slim, whatever it is. Be that eye candy, be that beautiful expression of Kundalini, and the Kundalini itself will expand that within you. It will amplify that. So make sure that you honor the Kundalini within you all the time. This is a 24/7 practice now. For those of you that are really, really called firmly on this path, there won't be 15 seconds that goes by that you're not thinking about your Kundalini in one way or the other. It's constantly on your mind. It's constantly something that you're working with, or that's working with you, or you're having to come into flexibility with, acceptance of, surrender to. It's not a scenario that just fades away when the show's over. In some cases, it'll increase when the show's over. For those of you that are doing the 9 devotional steps, and you know who you are, for those of you that are doing devotion 9 times a day, try to arrange, if you live in a time zone that makes it easy for you, or even if you live in a time zone that makes it harder for you, try to arrange to have one of your devotional sessions while this show is being played. Not this particular show, but any of the shows that we do. I want you there, doing the practice that I've given for each of you to do while the show is being played. You know who you are. Can you advise how a devotional practice alters and intensifies one's awakening process? Well, yeah, and that's just Vashji, His Holiness, asking the question. So, devotional practice is a stronger practice. It's speaking in the language of love, which the Kundalini is fluent in. Far more fluent is the Kundalini in this language than we ourselves are. We don't really have a real good understanding of love in the first place, or the many facets of how love fits into the divine equation. So when you do devotional practices, the love that you give to the external teacher, to the divine teacher, begins to be amplified by the Kundalini. And that is a love of divinity. And that love of divinity and the different practices that you're given within that devotional practice begin to support your acceptance and entrance into the heavenly fields, into the divine expression. The devotional path is just, it's a rapid format activation. It's an RFA. And I said a long time ago I wouldn't do RFAs because they're just too powerful, but I'm not allowed to not allow people to do this now. This is not part of my prerogative. If people are willing to go into the devotional platform and do the work, well, then they will receive the rewards. They will receive deep, deep, deep rewards with the devotional practice. Devotional practice strips away everything. Strips away your logic, strips away your ideologies, it strips away your fears and your false courage. It strips everything away. You are left there as naked as when you came into this world, and with about as much knowledge of the astral and other areas as when you came into this world. And so very, very, very specific practices are given to you. And this doesn't mean that you become like a drooling vegetable at all. Matter of fact, your consciousness, your intelligence, your wit, your humor, your personality, the characteristics that make you who you are all amplified by the Kundalini. And to very strong degrees, a person needs to be in somewhat of a self-discerning equation so that they don't go overboard with people, which is possible through the enthusiasm and the bliss that the Kundalini can give a person. They can begin to scare people too much. And then that opens up levels of problems that aren't necessary. You don't need to save everyone. You need to save yourself. And you let the Kundalini itself save those who it wants to save. But you be present there for it to work through you. So this is divine school now. We're in divinity school without the theologic implications. You could say we're a school of saints. SOS. I like that, actually. School of saints. We're a school of saints, and all the saints that were actually saints had the Kunalini. This is what gave them their power. This is what gave them their promise. This is what gave them their actions for humanity in very real ways. You need to understand that this is what it's about. You are stepping into the divine. And as you step into it, it steps into you. And you must allow that to occur. You must allow those changes to be made. If Kundalini is calling, your choices have just really, really shrunk drastically. When the Kundalini calls, God's hand is on your shoulder, and you're not pushing it off because it's inconvenient. The devotional path is that direct conversation with divinity. And that's why it is such a strong, strong, strong path. And that's why the people who are doing it are typically getting quite excellent results. And there are a number of people, we have a number of people who are actually practicing this, and it is a very, very good practice. I recommend it to each and every one of you. All right. You're welcome, Vashti. You're welcome. Any more questions there, Your Holiness?
I'm sure there is. I'm looking again. We've gone through a lot of them. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so any tips on how to handle the Buddha belly?
Any tits? What was that?
Tip,
Tips?
T-I-P, tips.
Oh, T-I-P, okay.
Any suggestions on how to handle the Buddha belly?
They sell a Buddha belly bra.
What?
And it even has an opening for the nipple, which would be the umbilicus. So if you're having a relationship with a succubi or an incubi, you could just put a straw into the umbilicus and then give them direct access. Never mind.
Okay.
No one gets my entity jokes.
No, I get it, but I'm going, oh.
Well, you've seen the Buddha belly bra, haven't you? It kind of holds it in.
Well, not really.
No, you haven't? I could have swore I saw one hanging up in your closet the last time I was in court.
Okay.
So,
are we moving on from that question?
No, I'm not done with that yet.
Okay.
I could squeeze a little more out of that one.
Okay, I wait with bated breath.
So is this, are these like boobs? Is this
Say that again, sorry?
Is this similar to MOOPS? Man boobs?
The Buddha belly is, you know what the Buddha belly is.
So it's not the Buddha hooter then, right?
No, it is not.
Or the Buddha paunch?
It's associated. It's bloating, isn't it? Really, it can be anyway.
Bloating, what?
I think it can be associated with bloating, and sometimes it can be painful for people. Although I think some people have a Buddha belly and it's not associated with bloating or pain or diet or anything. It just seems to blow up. Yeah. No, really.
Well, sometimes Kundalini can give you gas, and that'll give you, shall we say, an air support build up. I'm
so glad I asked you this question. Said she's searching desperately for another one, and I don't think I have one. That was 9. That's 9 questions, and gone through very quickly.
Well, how do you deal with a Buddha belly? Well, you let that Buddha belly deal with you. Just be careful who you roll over, on or next to. I mean, you don't want to suffocate any small children. Make sure you check your folds before you go to bed, in case you have creatures hiding in there.
Mm-hmm.
Next question, my dear.
Yes. Can you say something, please, about Shaktipat and why a person would wish to receive Shaktipat if the Kundalini has already awakened within them?
It can give them more. It can give them more of a boost. It can give them a way to have the Kundalini in a format that is supportive of the one that they've already got going. But it can put them on, certainly the way we do it, it can put them on a path that is very healthy, that is very helpful, that is very very much designed towards having sanity and saintliness inside of a Kundalini awakening. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I would have, if I wasn't who I am and I was searching right now, I would get a Shaktipat in a heartbeat. I would do the practices. I would do all these things. I would have, were there practices and teachers around who could have, give that advice. People now have the opportunity. They can hear it in English. You don't have to be a Sanskrit professor. You don't have to be a Hindu either. You can just be your sweet old regular self and begin an enlightenment process that surpasses pretty much anything this world has to offer. There are plenty of reasons why a person would want to have Shaktipat. And, I don't know. I mean, oneness with divinity. I mean, that pretty much sums it up for me. Now, if you have a Sat Guru or a person giving you Shaktipat who's also life within Kunalini, well, that's really good. But most people don't. So what? Oh, I see. Wow. Can you still hear me, Centaura? Am I still there?
Yes, I can. Just for 2 seconds you went off.
Yeah.
I thought you were gone, but you're not.
They did a drop-down advertisement here.
I see that.
Yeah. Okay. So you take the Shaktipat because you want to be on the Kundalini path. You want the Kundalini path to be on you. You are, instead of the Kundalini extending the invitation, you're extending the invitation to Kundalini. You're giving Kundalini permission. You're giving it the green light. You're giving it the go-ahead. You're saying, yes, please start the divine process in me. Think about that. And for every one of you that I do private Skypes with, and you all know who you are, this is happening every time we do a private Skype. Every single time you're getting Shaktipat. unless you live in Florida. If you live in Florida, well, things are already so nice for you. You know, you've got sunshine 360 days of the year. You've got beautiful sunsets, beautiful ocean water, big old honking huge sharks and dolphins and whales. And life is already so good in Florida. Then why would you want a Shakti pot at all? I don't get this at all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on a minute here. Yeah, the Florida people, boy, they got it really good. They've got it nice. Especially those who live in the white man's forts over there. Oh, like Fort Myers just comes to mind. Hi, Eileen. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine. I think you should change the name of your show to Kundalini, Funny Kundalini, or Kundalini Humor.
One of these days I will do a show on that.
Well, you're doing it now. It's not one of these days.
I just wanted to say hello and give you an opportunity to say hello to everyone.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
This is Eileen Lauro, Her Holiness, who lives in Florida, in a high-rise with a view of the water and the land, the air and the sun. And all she need do is just wander over to the window and take in a breathtaking sight. Am I right, Eileen?
Yes, you're right. Actually, can take in the air, too.
Yeah.
All the time.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Yeah. Pretty soon we'll have you practice your skydiving maneuvers off of that, right out that window.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to put you back into the blue, my dear. Nice to talk with you.
Thank you, Chrism.
And I think Amelia went back to the loo again. I wonder what the draw is for her there in Ireland and in the loo. Maybe it's just a little too much of that Guinness. I hear that happens if you have too much Guinness. Is that right, Amelia? Let's see here. Hello, Rosemary.
Hi there.
Do you think you can get too much diarrhea if you drink a lot of Guinness?
I haven't a clue.
You know what Guinness is?
I do happen to know what that is. I'm part of my ancestry is Irish, so I know that.
because of an alcohol label?
Yes.
Oh my God, it goes so deep there.
Because I would like to thank you for some of the things you said a little while ago. Just, I don't know, I lost track of the time, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, encouraging us women to be beautiful. And that's something so deep in us, I think, in a natural way.
Yes, well, I do. I do encourage people, men and women, to be beautiful. Take good care of yourself. It's not so much you that I'm talking about, the ego you. I'm talking more to the divine you, to that amazing divine person that you are, that Shakti makes you into. This is what I'm talking about with regards to that. Be the beautiful self. Be the self that through its beauty and through the amplification of that beauty by the Kunalini is able to help more and more people feel safe enough to come into a position of receiving help. Receiving help. Be that beautiful person that exudes safety and sanity and comfort and healing in this industrial civilization, but also in this civilization which, is coming into these holiday periods of Christianity in the United States. And, this typically coincides with winter, and already winter is really, really hard and cold here in parts of the United States. Not in Florida, of course, but definitely other parts of the United States are feeling the chill. And I know Eileen's saying, I'm in Indiana now anyway, which is true. But, be astute enough and lose that weight. Stop coloring that hair. Accept yourself as you are, and then beautify what it is you are in whatever way that comes. If that means you wear makeup, then fine, wear makeup. Got no problem with it. Try not to get the kind that's tested on animals, so, stay away from those. Stay away from the old brands like Avon and Max Factor, whatever. If anything is using animals as a way of testing it, then avoid that for sure. Go into the populations with a new appreciation for your beauty and your power and yourself and your Kundalini. And radiate onto people that joy, that happiness, that love. Feel the Kundalini pulse its way through you, carrying those positive emotions into the population. So be very, very careful about what you're thinking and how you're thinking. Look at your emotions. Look at your self-talk, your inner dialogue. Look at that. Is it helpful to yourself and others? Would you want your inner dialogue to be repeated through the mouth of an infant? Where do you need to make corrections? And what's stopping you from making those corrections? Discern this. Do this now. For those of you that are doing the nine times a day practice, I also want you to think about this as you're doing that practice. Think about this. Allow this to give itself to you. Give everything to the Kundalini. Give your freedom. Give your choice, your decisions. Give your life force. Give your attention. Give your body, mind, soul, spirit. Call it what you will. But give it to the Kundalini. All of it. All of it. Give it to the teacher that Kundalini has placed in your life. Do you think it's accidental? How many people do you think do this work? You look on the web and it seems like a lot, but most of the people are just quoting another website and then another website and then another website. It becomes obliterated by the bland, uncomprehending consciousness that receives these keys to heaven and just passes over them because it's not sexy enough, or it's not looking like it's going to be, sugar plum fairies and cotton candy floating over our heads, because of course, we're not using high fructose corn syrups anymore. So if you have sugar plum fairies, well, you have to have some sort of a fructose replacement for the sugar that would be on the sugar plum fairy. And is the fairy itself, is that edible, or is it just lobbing the sugar plum into your mouth as you're sleeping? I don't know. Something like that, I'm sure. And then the cotton candy, well, you wear cotton candy more than you eat it. And so there's that one. Now I'm going to bring Rosemary back on here because I believe she had a question. What's your question, Rosemary?
It was my comment that I made earlier when you put me in, was to thank you for that, what you've been saying about beauty. And the only piece that I didn't say was because in the past, my whole life, if I looked at it, when I finally looked at my closet of clothes, et cetera, it was ego. And I realized clothes are things of the ego. And so the same would be true for makeup and attention and to those details of our life.
Not necessarily. If you wear the clothing or if you wear the makeup as a tribute to the Kundalini and its reach into the populations, that is a service-oriented decision.
Yes, and I would never have seen that had you not said what you said.
I see. Well, thank you, my dear. Thank you for listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
Say again, what was that?
I say I appreciate your contribution to that. It's interesting. Refinement is one of my favorite words, and there it's a refinement of an understanding of something that enabled it to be more in line with, I think, what is natural for women, to care about themselves in that way, and to have it, as you presented it, have it be part of the Kundalini and not something working against it is maybe what I was thinking somewhere. So thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. So, yeah, very, very useful information. Very important for people to understand, these levels of intricacy within the understanding of Kundalini, and you can really see it. What she says is correct. Clothing is the ego, makeup is the ego, and it is. It is used by the ego in the way that the ego likes to use one, or use those implements. But when you go into Kundalini, you move. In many ways, you're moving beyond the ego. You find that you won't wear clothing as much. And so, just the action of taking off the clothing is taking off the ego. Think about that. Taking off the clothing is taking off the ego. When you put on the clothing, and you put it on with an eye or an ear, or an eye and an ear, towards the Shakti Kundalini, well, then you're wearing clothing for a different reason. It's almost like a uniform now, Kundalini uniform. You're reaching into the populations with arms and love of grace. And we let that grace, do the talking for us in many ways. If you find yourself too egotistical about what it is you're wearing and how you're looking, and the whole I'm such a beautiful person syndrome is upon you. Well, different ways to get a person non-fixated on that can occur. Different ways of. And the thing with the Kundalini is that you're having yourself, you're being exposed to truths, and these truths will fly in the face of your current understandings of what is acceptable and what isn't from the society that you live in. Kundalini surpasses the truths of the society. That's why you find a lot of the issues that are brought up by the Kundalini as a taboo subject. A subject that is not to be talked about, that is not to be brought up, that is not to be mentioned. It's taboo. It's full of fear and in some cases terror. Kundalini just doesn't care about that. It just steps right into it and says, okay, what are you afraid of and why? You're a divine temple that is being built. The divine doesn't use materials that are infused with fear. So you take fear out of your equation. You take the clothing of fear off of your body. And you replace it with the clothing of love, of surrender, of acceptance, of merging, of joining, of blessing and being blessed, of giving, receiving, and healing, and helping. Do these things with your Kundalini. Let these things be done by your Kundalini through you. Be that willing partner. Be the willing partner and step up to the plate. Step up in your life. Actively acknowledge the Kundalini in yourself. Stop hiding. Stop hiding. Moving on. And Your Holiness, you are on a red mic, my dear. You are a red girl, a red woman.
Red to go, not to stop. Yeah, I was sitting here with, my eyes closed, listening, and just to say before we move on, to everybody who's listening, I suppose I said earlier about having a teacher, was difficult. It made things more difficult as well as being easier at the same time. And this is exactly why it becomes easier, because I have a teacher who speaks, directly from the Kundalini to me, to my heart, to my living in this world, and who, supports, enables, inspires, commands, helps me to go out and be that person, that the Kundalini is giving for me to be. So that is what makes having a teacher easier. And that's a wonderful balance between what makes having a teacher hard. So thank you, Chrism, for that. I really, really enjoyed listening to that, and thank you. Okay, moving on then.
Moving on.
So, because I've only got the one PC, I am going to now look at the next question. Oh, Chrism, I think I don't have another question.
No other
Susan, how much? No, let me just scroll down through them. No, I do not. That was 11 questions. Gone.
Well, that's fine. That's perfect.
Yeah. No, that's the end of what I wrote down, Chrism, and
Let's go right into this subject with regards to the makeup and all of that as a conscious acceptance of the role of the Kundalini can play in the life of a person, in the expression of the male or the female. Levels of attire can be given that are complementary to the person having the Kundalini. Now, the Kundalini will often select these types of clothing. I remember I got pulled into a Walmart, I think it was, and God, they had this one shirt there that I just had to get, and so I had to get this one shirt in Walmart for like $9. But it turned out to be a really, 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 really good shirt. And so these types of clothing issues you may be drawn to, but this also includes the makeup issue as well. You're not using the makeup in order to attract a mate. The makeup is not being used in order to start a family. The makeup is being used to allow the flower that the Kundalini is to be accepted within the fullness of society. So, a lot of girls wear eye makeup. A lot of guys wear a ring or a watch or something like that, or have a beard or a mustache or some sort of a haircut that requires maintenance. It just means that you can be present in society with Kundalini even as you dress, even as you prepare yourself for work, even as you are at work. The Kundalini will just take that push that the makeup gives you or the hairstyle or whatever it is gives you and just make it even that much better. Not only for you, but for the people that are looking at you. And you just need to allow that to help build your self-confidence. Not build it towards having a big ego about how you look or vanity, but to build it in a healthy way that is given into the Kundalini, that it may help many other people that you may come in contact with. So wear it. Wear it. Feel it. I know a lot of you, you have a certain thing that you wear. I do too. You have a certain thing that you wear and that you like to wear, and this is how you have a comfort level of being perceived in society. Go with that comfort level. Go with it. I'm not asking you to grow a beard. The Kundalini might, but I'm certainly not asking you to. Unless, of course, you're just that good looking that you can, have a beard. I'm talking to the women here. All right. Let me see some of the other issues that have come up. So you need to be willing to try some very, very, very scary things in the early part of the process. You need to be willing to cross over, as I mentioned earlier, those taboos of activity, those taboos of thought process, emotional process, all of the
Chrism has been bumped off now, I think, because I'm looking at the studio, guys, and I was bumped off a while ago, and suddenly everything went quiet, and then I was watching the studio, and then I disappeared from it. So now it looks like Chrism has been bumped off, so I'm going to assume that you can hear me, and I will continue until he returns. So maybe just if I could talk a little bit maybe about, clothes and makeup and that from my own perspective and from how it has been with my Kundalini. Kundalini, for me, has also directly influenced some of the things that I wear. For example, I have been guided to wear a particular colour for quite a while. It was blue. And when I would go to choose what I was going to wear that day, the compulsion was to put on something blue. And as I put on that top, it was me clothing myself for Kundalini that day. And this happens quite a lot for me in my life now, that what I put on is connected to my Kundalini. And sometimes I'm very surprised at what I feel I am to wear. And as the day progresses, it's like part of my devotion really to Kundalini when I put something specific on that I wear during the day for Kundalini. And I'm not a makeup person at all. Never have been, never was. and Chrism doesn't know this actually, because I haven't mentioned it. It's only happened for me in the last couple of days. Someday last week, I had this, again, compulsion. And when I use the word compulsion, I'm speaking about an inner guidance. It's the Kundalini giving for me to do something, and that's the compulsion. It's the inner guidance, and I'm very familiar with it now, so that when it comes, I know it's from Kundalini. It's a communication, it's a language, it's a direction that works very fluidically now with me. And I had this compulsion to buy lip gloss. I know it sounds weird, but that was really something that I just don't do that. I don't wear anything on my face. But because it was a compulsion and because it was from Kundalini, I went to the counter and I started to look through the different lip glosses, and I chose one. And so for the last couple of days, I have actually been wearing a lip gloss, and this has been put on as part of the clothing that I wear. In honor of the Kundalini, and because the Kundalini guided me to... Oh, Chrism is back. Hi, Chrism. You were bumped off.
I know.
I was bumped off.
Over that. Oh, my God. And I was just talking to the air for the last 5 minutes, I'm sure.
Oh, no. That happened to me earlier, and I felt I just couldn't believe it. And I was watching myself in the studio, and I was still there, but I couldn't hear a thing. And then I was bumped. So, I don't know how long you were talking, of course.
Julie and Elizabeth and Ma Deva Sadvi Sigrid, nobody told me that I was talking to the air.
Okay, guys, that's a request. Next time Chrism is bumped off, immediately please type, Chrism, you're gone. Yeah, because there is no other communication to let you know, and I know you speak with your eyes closed very often, so you mightn't see the chat room anyway.
No, thank you, Ma Deva Sadvi. So, if you have a question about any of these topics that we brought up, the number is 347-934-0026. 347-934-0026.
I was just telling people, Chrism, about clothing that I wear and that, but something I hadn't told you was, I don't wear makeup.
TMI.
I'm not going the way you think I'm going to go, but okay.
TMI.
It's just about lip gloss.
Well, there are many places you can put lip gloss.
Oh my. Okay. But it's just fascinating because it ties right in with what you were saying about makeup. And I don't wear makeup. And last week I had a compulsion to buy lip gloss, this communication from the Kundalini to begin to wear it. And so because it was a compulsion, because it was a communication and instruction, I went and I got the lip gloss, and I have been applying it. And in a very conscious way as I do that, it is in honor of the Kundalini and in honor of, the Kundalini in me as I go out into the populations. And you have also given for me to, radiate and be conscious of how I am when I'm out in the public, and to radiate love and kindness and consideration. And this, I feel, has, putting on the lip gloss is also part of that now. Does that sound really weird? But it's really...
The many levels of sex appeal the Kundalini will also travel on. And so as a person makes themselves, really appealing, the Kundalini will once again amplify that as well. The whole idea is to get more Kundalini into the population. And the reason why we want more Kundalini into the population is because this population has finally reached a level where it really needs to expand, where it needs to go beyond, some of the shallow understandings and ideologies that make up a lot of our social commentary. Step outside that shallowness and really begin to embrace the beauty and the joy and the sacredness that is at the base of each of our spines. I mean, this is the real deal. We're cooking with gas on this one here, and it's really important that as we cook and as we refine ourselves towards a greater enlightenment, that we take the time to look at what is already coming within us. Okay, look what's already happening. Take advantage of where the Kundalini is pointing you. For some of you, it's going to point to you to not wear any makeup, not wear anything, be totally, completely natural, and I support that. For some of the others, it's going to take the opposite tack, and it's going to totally encourage you to put makeup on, encourage you to be appealing and provocative into the population. So once again, it can reach into those populations through you. So look at it. Look at it and look at how it fits in with your agenda of life. How it fits in with how you see yourself living life, having the Kundalini at the same time. How does that work for you? Okay. All right. Well, then, if there are no more questions, I'll go ahead and end this show. Amelia Santara, if you would like to say any last words.
No, Chrism. Rosemary, did she just pop another question there?
Well,
Have we spoken to her about, yeah?
Let's go ahead and ask, see what she's doing.
Okay. Hi, Rosemary. Do you have a question again? Or, yeah.
Yes, what she's doing is getting ready for next week. And our teacher is coming to Minnesota on Monday and staying for a week of giving talks. Our seminar, and we're having inquiries about that, that's really exciting, February 21st and 22nd. But between October and that seminar, Chrism was willing to come and give talks here. So he will be here the 1st through the 8th, and that's
so
what I'm doing.
Is that next week, Rosemary, starting on next Monday?
Yes, next Monday.
Wow, okay, that's wonderful.
But because of the seminar coming, so it's something between the last one and the next one. And we said last week about forming this community, and so the first evening of that time will be with the community from the seminar in September, and that's just really very touching to me. And so I thank you, Chrism. And
that's fantastic.
Looking forward.
Rosemary, if I was a person listening who didn't know anything about this, or it was the first time I was hearing this information, what could I come to next week in Minnesota? There
are 5 events that a person could come to, and they're mostly 7 to 9. 4 of them are 7 to 9. 3 7 to 9, and 2 are 2 to 4 in the afternoon on Saturday over at the university near the campus there, and then Sunday 12:30 to 2:30 after the morning service at one of the churches. And the ones before that are in an office and a healthcare group of people, and then a center in another little part of town in Burnsville, for example, and that Chrism has been there before. And it's ongoing, many modalities that she provides information for people in the Twin Cities area. And then there's also another. It's a healthcare facility and providing for people. So it's a variety of places that people said yes, they'd like Chrism to come.
Okay, so they're in different locations in the Twin Cities and different days. Yes. And if I wanted to find out, Rosemary, what's your contact?
Well, it's two things. They are, thanks to Eileen, they are on Facebook, all of them on Facebook, Kundalini seminars and events with Chrism, the ampersand there in the middle, and you can find them there. And that's where I did get an email just yesterday about coming to one of these events, so you can connect with me through that. And my contact information is rosemaryg at usinternet.com, and I welcome phone calls, 651-452-3161.
Okay, that's wonderful, Rosemary. That's great that Chrism is going back to the Twin Cities, isn't it? Yeah, and a wonderful opportunity as well for people who haven't met him before, because you've got lots of different options that week, and to go to the talks, listen to him, to meet other Kundalini people, and as something to do before the seminar next February. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. And there's a really great opportunity for people from the last seminar, and they have gotten, all of them have gotten this information, to bring people to see and experience Chrism as a teacher in that setting, and to help just what Chrism has said many times about connecting with others and how people, well, something happens, and we said that last week too. Something happens when you're in the presence of a person like Chrism with that strongly awakened Kundalini. So a lot of benefits.
Oh, it's very, very special. It's quite amazing. And to be with other people as well who have Kundalini, because that is such a rarity, isn't it? I mean, it's not something, I think, probably for most people listening, you know, they probably don't know anybody else, or the chances are they don't know anybody else in their day-to-day life that has Kundalini awakened. I certainly don't, and most of the people that I communicate with on Facebook through the groups, they don't either. I think you're in a wonderful position there, Rosemary, now that this community is developing in that area, for that to be something that can happen more for you and for the people in that area.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, I am finding as I do the film screenings, when I ask toward the end, has anyone experienced any of that? And more hands are going up.
Good.
Very cautiously, they're a little timid about saying what they've experienced, but that is good to know too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you both for sharing that very much. Thank you very much, Rosemary. And then, of course, Amelia, thank you also very much for sharing that as well. If we have any questions about these topics or any of the other topics we brought up today, the number is 347-934-0026. And I'll wait a few seconds here, and if nobody's reaching for the telephone, I'll go ahead, and I see MJ Henderson is typing. Hello, MJ. Okay. Some other places where you can get this information, if you go to the YouTube network and you go to chrism.kundalini, or just Chrism, CHRISM, Kundalini, KUNDALINI, and you go into YouTube with it, you'll come up to about 300 or so videos. So I encourage you all to watch those videos over and over and over again. Also, you can come to KundaliniAwakeningSystems1.com, all one word, and that is the number 1.com, so not spelled out. And that has a lot of this information posted on it there. You can go to Ascension Kundalini at, Blogspot, that one. You can also go to Facebook where you have Kundalini Awakening ! Kundalini Awakening Systems 2, Kundalini Awakening Systems 3, and Kundalini Awakening Healing, Kundalini Healing. And you can also go on the Yahoo network, Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at Yahoo Groups, and Kundalini Healing at Yahoo Groups. We're also on Google+. And so we have a Kundalini Awakening ! On Google+ as well. So if there's anybody who would like to get more information, but they don't want to have to, listen to a long chat on the air, then go to these other places. For those of you that are my private students, and you know who you are, for those of you who are private students, I'm gonna give you an instruction. I want you to share this program or any of the other programs you feel like sharing. I want you to share it with another network, like Reddit or whatever it is. Share this thing. Get this stuff out there, okay? You guys know who you are. All right. And I want to say thank you, Santara. Thank you, John O'Connor, for giving this information the ability to be received.
You're welcome, Chrism. It's our pleasure indeed.
Okay. Last words, Santara?
Last words are good night, everybody, from here. Again, lovely to be here. Thank you very much, Chrism, as always, and Rosemary and Eileen and everybody in the chat room. It's really good being here with you all.
I couldn't have expressed it better, and my intentions are the same thing. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. This is a little bit earlier than usual, but so it is. Good night, everyone.